Today I will be talking about honeybee defense strategies. There are differences between species and races, but most of the differences in defenses come from the size of the bee and the location of the hive, whether it's low to the ground or high up in the treetops, whether the hive is open comb or it's inside of a cavity, and how visible is the hive. I'll be talking about mostly three different bee species that are in Southeast Asia. This will be Apis dorsata, Apis cerana, and Apis florea. In the picture, you can see Apis dorsata is a very large bee. Apis cerana is a medium-sized bee, slightly smaller than our own Apis mellifera. And Apis florea isn't pictured, but it's smaller than all of those. Here I have three examples of the different hives for each of the species. The top left is Apis cerana. They're inside a cavity. They usually only have one entrance that typically is long and narrow. On the top right is an Apis florea comb. They're very small. They're typically on low-hanging branches with a bunch of foliage to hide them. And on the bottom is Apis dorsata combs. They're very high up in the treetops or on the face of cliffs. These are very large combs, and they're difficult to get to. One of the main predators of bees are ants. You can see a picture of a weaver ant. They like to grab bees out of the air and take them back to the nest. Apis florea's main defense against ants is a sticky band. This band is made out of plant resin that they just coat the junction of the comb and the branch that the comb is hanging off of. If for some reason the ants do manage to get onto the comb, the bees will gather as much resources as they can and just abandon the comb and try to find a new hive to they will try to make a new hive somewhere else. Apis cerana, the guard bees will actually try to distract the ants from returning forage bees. They also like to smooth the entrance to their hives and then use their wings to create a gust of wind to blow the ants out of the entrance. Apis dorsata, the ants typically leave alone because they're high up, and Apis dorsata are able to more effectively combat them. Against mammals, Apis florea doesn't really have anything but to remain hidden. Once they're found, there's really nothing stopping a bear or a person from just grabbing the comb and eating it. Apis cerana, they rely heavily on the hive walls. Since they are a medium-sized bee, they have some stinging ability to deter mammals, um, but they really rely on the hive walls. Apis dorsata, obviously being on a cliff or in a treetop, they're really hard to get to, but if a mammal does manage to get up there, Apis dorsata will very aggressively sting the animals. Something that most bees typically have in common is their defense against wasps. They have a method called bee balling, where hundreds of bees will swarm around a wasp. They'll contract their flight muscles rapidly. This will produce a lot of heat where the wasp is, and the heat combined with the carbon dioxide from the respiration will, within a couple of minutes, kill the wasp. These have just been a few strategies. Differences arise between different races and different species of bees. Most of the bee diversity is in Asia. The three species I talked about are in Southeast Asia, such as Thailand. And this just goes to show that we're lucky to not have to climb cliffs or open up trees. We have a pretty easy system to get our honey. And that's the end.